So you want to know which software is better for you, Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro? Let's start with Final Cut Pro. Good things about it: cleaner interface, less tabs to intimidate new users, super easy file organizations, they have libraries, events, and projects which will only take about 10 minutes top to understand, and everything is listed clearly in this panel. Also, because of that, everything is stored right in the library file, including all the media files, so when you copy projects, you only need to copy this. Super easy cutting tool, cut, delete, and it automatically delete the space between. Scrubbing through a timeline is probably the most intuitive one I've used so far. Move your mouse and the indicator moves with it. Mine means nothing right now, but wait till you see how it works in Premiere Pro. Super smooth playback even with 8K RAW in original quality, and super easy to stabilize footage by one click, and it's done crazy fast. Multi-camera angle footages are super easy to sync. Actually, it's the most powerful one I've used so far. Even with crummy audios, it does the sync by one click in seconds. Changing clip speed is also easy, everything laid out very clear, and they got all those titles and animation templates from the internet that's super easy to use. For the most part, you just drag and drop and change the text, and boom, here you go. Okay, bad things about Final Cut Pro: it's Mac only, so Windows people just go away. Because it gives you the option to put all the files into this one library file, that means the more project, in this case events, you have in one library, the slower computer will run. And because of the cleaner interface, Apple doesn't allow you to customize tabs. So you can't have two project panels open at the same time. And you can't have the titles tab open next to the project panel, which is super annoying because you can't do this. Instead, you have to do this every time. And if you have a lot of titles or projects, every time you click back and forth between the two will take forever. And because Apple wants to make the software super easy to understand, they make all the effects previewable, which is good and bad, but bad for me because that means every time you click in this area, it lags. Timeline footages all have one color, which can be confusing when you have a lot of them. Last thing for the interface is, I'm not too sure how to maneuver in the timeline area without a trackpad. Like, why can't you stay? No adjustment layer that you can put on top of everything to add, for example, a filter all at once. Okay, so far these are all just my things about the software. Maybe you'll get used to it, but the biggest problem with Final Cut Pro, because everything is meant to be easy, you can't do too much about animations and graphics. Like you can't even change the keyframe speed. You're pretty much stuck with templates that you get from the internet, so there is high chance that your video will look like others. Okay, Premiere Pro, let's start with the bad things. Interface is less cleaner, might intimidate new users. File organization is pretty much manual. Do it neat, you create your own folders and put everything in it just so it don't mess up. Playback is not usually smooth in full quality. Scrubbing through timeline, you have to manually drag the indicator, which is too much steps. I'm just spoiled by Final Cut Pro. Basic cutting involves one more step, which is to delete the empty space in between. Default coloring experience is not usually pleasure. I prefer third-party plugins. Effect library doesn't have previews. These tabs don't actually mean too much. For the most part, I can stick with edit panel and it has pretty much everything I need. Change clip speed is not easy to work with, especially when you see this. Took me a while to understand it. Stabilizing footage is an effect that's hidden deep in the effect library, as well as other basic effects like audio fading and fade out. Multi-camera angle footage don't work very well here. 90% of the time you have to sync manually, even if you give two clips with fairly clear audio. And overall multi-camera process is not clean. Now, good things about Premiere Pro: overall it doesn't lag, and this is probably nothing, but they have the timeline slider here and forever here. And you can change clip color to easily identify which clip is doing what. Now, the most important part is, everything is customizable, from the overall interface layout to create your own animations. You can now change the keyframe speed and mask like a boss, and even auto-track it. You have integration with After Effects, which basically opens the door to all the visual effects you can think of. You also have the integration with Adobe Audition, which lets you focus on the audio. One very useful use case of it is to make whatever sound you have match the length of your video with this remix button. And please don't take the good and bad too literally. They're all just my experiences and you judge it yourself. These two are both great editing softwares, and it all depends on your needs. Easy and fast, go with Final Cut Pro. If you want to take more control of the editing and possibly dive into the whole Adobe ecosystem, then go with Premiere Pro. Thanks for watching. Jay here, and peace.